disintegrate around her. The creatures began to close in on her from all sides, their bodies dissolving into darkness, their eyes burning like hellfire, and everything around them was being consumed by darkness. But Jessica was not alone. She could feel a powerful energy surging out of the depths of her being. It was more than power, it was an awakening. With her eyes closed, she released a stream of blood that permeated space, destroying the darkness around her. The stream of fire and destruction spread across the ground, melting everything in its path. The creatures screamed, but their cries were drowned out by the sounds of destruction. They were retreating, but they could not leave. Their bodies were disintegrating, disappearing like sand carried away by a storm. The man approached her again. He stood watching the world around him disappear. You have won, but you are doomed to exist in this place forever. That will be your fate. Jessica, you can't go back. You cannot escape from this world. Jessica looked at him. His words didn't faze her because she could already feel the sky above her beginning to disintegrate. She was part of something greater, more powerful than death itself. I'm not looking for forgiveness. I don't want to go back. I'm here because I deserve it, she said, and there was a confidence in her voice like never before. In that moment, the darkness around her consumed her, not as an enemy, but as an ally. As the darkness engulfed Jessica, the world around her disappeared. The forest that had once been alive was now just a memory, dissolved into this new reality. The creatures that had been her enemies and guardians were gone. Their sinister forms vanished into the void. She stood in the center of the destruction, but this was her world now. She was not just a part of this world. She was its ruler. There was no longer fear in her eyes. It was not suffering, but realization. She was more than she had ever been. Her power overwhelmed whatever was left of the old world. The man who had once tried to save her was gone. His words hadn't mattered for a long time. He couldn't understand how Jessica had changed. Her body was now part of this chaos. Her skin, once delicate and human, was now an empty shell into which the darkness itself poured its power. Her soul was consumed by the eternal rain. And in that moment, as Jessica felt the world consuming her, she realized that there was no end, that there was no beginning and no end, only an eternal cycle of pain, destruction, and birth. Everything she had once known was gone, but in that disappearance, she found her essence. She stood on the border of two worlds, the world of life and the world of shadow. Her choice was not just an act of revenge. It was a liberation that perhaps should not have been made, but it was too late. The rain of blood continued to fall. It was a part of her. It was her flow, her destiny. And now, in the silence of this new world, Jessica, having destroyed everything that had gone before, was something new.